and I guess I should say this, I'm a shareholder in Shopify, but I think a lot of us are here in Canada. So yeah, man, another Canadian company right now. Trying to do quite well here today. So let's watch Shopify. It seems like 9% may be a little bit egregious on this news, but I feel like you want to play momentum in this market, especially if volumes are going to start to die off heading into this long weekend, right? If you're going to trade names, you want to trade names that everyone's looking at so you can get the follow through in some of this. Yeah, what's up, Anurag? I know I may look like I'm 30, but yeah, a little slightly older than that one, a little wiser in the teeth there.
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely going to be watching Shopify today. Like,
that's great.
This, what does this look like to you, Sean? Doesn't this look like a little bit of a cup forming?
Something like that.
Bit of a cup. Pretty clean, right? We've had prior highs before. Yeah, exactly. So let's see what we do up here. If we can kind of pull back in and support, like this is.
If you're not sure what to do next, how about I take you on a walk?
Let's see if we can get some relief and catch a bid to really make this move even stronger. If we're gonna move up towards 75, I want to see some supports forming over the next couple of weeks, or maybe even over the next month, right? Because this is the like the bigger picture move that's happening. Last earnings that kind of happened was solid, and then you hold above those prices throughout like what, June, July, August, and then in August we get a bit of a fade off, but like that might have been because of some of the market tailwind as well, right? We know the market kind of had a 3-week pullback as well, so this is a little bit of relief kind of coming back into these levels on news, using that catalyst to kind of draw that price action back in. And yeah, I'll be watching for some of these levels like that 68, like, right? Looking left, the first level I see here is at 67, 68, and we're pretty much there. We're just hovering under 65. So I think this will be an interesting look, and maybe we don't continue out the open. Maybe we do pull back, right? So looking left to the downside, I have the $60 level and 62 as well. Kind of interesting levels. Maybe if we want to even get back down here, which I highly doubt. But yeah, we've got that 58 down there as well. So those are the levels I'll be watching out for on Shopify.
All right, yeah, good work there. I love that cup and handle kind of look, and Shopify is going to be something that's got everybody's watch right now. Still watching AMC. It's not really doing a whole heck of a lot at 13.50, but if we're ready, we can go over to the big desk with Brendo and our early guest of the day.
Early, in fact, yeah. Raheem is here.
Early, is it on time, or like I'm just the pre-show?
No, I mean there's going to be a few today. So
okay.
You're number one,
all right.
Always in our books. Raheem Lally, Managing Director of OCI Groups, back with us again. We'll do a two-part here. Look at a few things that are going on. Big day yesterday for cannabis, obviously. Yep. If you missed it, this was the headline that came out mid-morning that caused this absolute rocket ship. This is just the ETF in the U.S. MSOS, halted a couple of times on the way up, ends the day at the highs, essentially. I noted in this morning, a lot of these are already starting to move once again,
right?
Trying to take out or test at least these highs.
Right, so what this is health and human safety. They are suggesting that cannabis go to a Schedule 3 drug versus a Schedule 1. The reason that's important is, A, they're saying cannabis and heroin are not the same thing. So I don't know about either, but potentially there's a difference there. But what that does, it opens the way for potential movements into being able to medically prescribe cannabis, gets into the banking element, so it's not just a state-by-state thing, it could go federal. And the bigger thing is also cannabis companies have a lot of expenses, and they're not allowed to write off certain expenses as a Schedule 3 drug company. But once you go, as a Schedule 1 drug company, but once you go to a Schedule 3 drug company, you have the potential to write off additional expenses. So all of these stocks, if they get moved to a Schedule 3 officially, we'll begin to see some of these incremental things hit the bottom line, both from the top line basis of revenue as well as so if that happens, that happens. Elections.
We'll see if anything actually comes from it. At this point, look, it's positive momentum, it's positive movement in the direction that I think a lot of these companies obviously want to see.
Yeah.
There's a ton of different angles we can take here. I just brought up Tilray, same exact move as that ETF we were looking at. You brought us through as well. If you're looking for, the smaller, lower price tag.
Yeah, the names that got halted yesterday were Curaleaf, Tilray, and Trulieve. Then you take the smattering of other cannabis companies that just popped on the basis of they have exposure into the U.S. So things that basically happen, if you look at any of these charts that we'll talk about real quick, they all had Q2 earnings come out on August 8th and 9th basis. The only ones that really moved aggressively well were Tilray but on the basis of this news here, we have Trulieve and Village Farms all moved aggressively well, over 10%. Tilray also went up 10%, and then the Canopies and and some of these names have also had
Make yourselves a home. Grow.
The hunt.
that helps
Can't catch me.
stock up into $2 range as well. So we saw a couple of these different activities associated with some of these names, in addition to
In the past, we've talked about the multi-state operator aspect of some of these. If this is going to be a federal thing, how does that affect some of those multi-state operators?
they're the ones that are they're going to be most competitively advantageously affected by this news. Because right now, state banking, you have to essentially keep your stuff in state. And if you have a multi-state operation, you have to have different banking and financial instruments into each different state. And now if you are able to go federal, then all of a sudden you can show up at, Wells Fargo or something like that and say, I want to do my banking here. And it runs through all the different states. So that will allow them to right away plug and play all of their financials into all their different financial institutions. Versus the single state guys, we're going to go from, Sun Trust Bank, the Midwest, my community bank that's in my backyard, right? Some of those guys that have to unfortunately bank with banks like that are now going to be able to grow and get into more federal banks.
All right, we'll shift gears a little bit here. I want to talk about some of the banking stocks because we've just come through some earnings reports in this country from the main banks. Very different setting, very different. Talked about this in the past for sure. Very different industry in general, but across the board compared to what is happening in the U.S. There have been a few red flags this earnings season that are coming through from the banks. Just maybe from a higher level, talk a little bit about the differences and why we may or may not be or should be too rich.
Yeah, and there's different lenses that you're going to want to look at. Canada, again, is, like you said, very different. Like I just said, there's 7,000 banks.
As per our contract.
Right? So, in the long run, I guess I'll say banking policy. But what's going to happen over the next while is, like we talked about here, Canada's doing a good job to battle inflation with interest rates. What that does is it obviously keeps everyone's cost of living higher on big ticket items like more, and that hasn't yet crept into the mortgages of people. Right? It's still, they're on interest from years ago, when their mortgages get reevaluated at some point in the next 6, 12, 18, 24 months.
Yeah.
You're all of a sudden going to pay your mortgage bill is going to go from $4,000 to $8,000. And that could be a big difference for some people out there. And so, like Scotiabank, as an example, they doubled their loan loss provision from $412 million to $814 million on the expectation that they were going to have bad loan losses. Again, it could be anything related to banking all the way up into mortgages. We're going to see that. Secondly, we're going to see because banks are conservative here, and when they aren't hitting their $2.4 billion of earnings, they get concerned. And one of the places they go to are to reduce expenses, and that comes in the form of expenses that they brought on during the COVID time that we had a couple years ago, where they had to build in new expenses to work at home and things of that nature. And secondly, is related to headcount. A lot of these banks have also taken on acquisitions, have brought in front-of-the-line staff, and we sort of have been reading that they're going to look at reducing headcount, both in their back office, commercial banking spaces, as well as front front of house, as it were, banking, because then you can do online, you can do digital, so you don't need to send it to the tellers. And so there's different ways that banks are going to look to cut their expenses and bring that bottom line number better.
Good friend of mine, quick story, good friend of mine works at Scotia in the operations side of things. In his division, during the pandemic, he was saying his division was 3 floors of their office tower, and they would have one.
I see everything.
And not only that,
Jumpy, jumpy, go! Oh, let the magic begin. Everyone hold hands.
given that earnings were not that great.
Yeah, so they are all, again, holding up well simply because you have 6 to pick from in reality. If you go through any of them, they're all going to say the same thing. Like I just talked about, loan loss provisions are going to increase. Some of them, like Scotia, got more aggressive in doubling their loan loss provisions. Other ones are going to talk about bringing down expenses. Each one does have a little bit of a fine point. Like TD is more aggressive in the U.S. So with all their acquisitions that they've made, are they going to look to headcount reductions there to bring their bottom line to the better? They also announced a 4.9% share buyback. We talked about 11.5%. And so TD has announced that. So they are going and finding and putting it themselves. So that was a nice make to see what they are doing. RBC again said the same thing. They want to reduce headcount. They were offset by the fact they had a slightly better than most equity capital markets run in the last quarter versus most firms who had equity capital markets on the downside and taking in a bit of a hurt to the bottom line. So it's just each one's got their own little fine piece. The Bank of the West acquisition by BMO, how they integrate those things. So there were some of those fine points.
Yeah, so as we said, there's obviously a lot of differences between the two markets, the U.S. and Canada, but I mean, some cautionary signals were coming up definitely for Canadian banking institutions. Milani and I will be involved in potentially a video, watch social media coming up in the next week and a half or so. Top Secret Summit in France. May or may not both be attending.
Who may or may not both be attending, and if our opinions are required there, then we're going to be there. So, yeah, watch for us somewhere. Maybe here.
Travel safe.
Yeah, you too. Good to see you.
Okay. All right. So yeah, it's a really exciting one. Thanks for talking about the cannabis thing. We, like yesterday, I put the array down on the here for today. Like if we could break through, we had this 330 area there. I was looking at yesterday's trade again, and I wrote down. I don't know why I wrote down.
I see everything. Da, da, da. Woo. Surprise!
There. I don't know. I wrote down 2 pennies already, so I'm gonna have to figure out why I did exactly that. What is that?
Another test subject.
Either way,
And away I go. Take
3.
Everyone hold hands.
Any dip buy opportunity could probably be bought up. It's a 14% short squeeze, potential. It's not the hugest, but it's only $3, so we know that this name can definitely get going. I mean, any kind of news sparking this. I'm always nervous about cannabis stocks and fading these rallies. I mean, it happens every single time, it seems like, I mean, this was extended actually back from July. We actually had 4 days of nice movements to the upside.
Thank you for
actually, you know what? I'm going to take back a little bit of what I was saying there. I mean, some of these wicks, you notice a lot of the wicks are to the high side, not to the bottom side there. So yesterday we get another one up there before dropping back at the end of the day. Can we hold this 200 period of 260 right here on the daily? That was the key level that we talked about yesterday during the show. So I feel like we do want to do that. I was actually waiting for a break up here, but 1.26 million shares isn't that huge. So maybe we just want to look and sort of just leg into the ETF. Again, obviously this halted a couple times there yesterday. And the reason why the ETF halts is because of the names that are in the ETF, right? Raheem talked about True Leave and some of those names that were halting up yesterday. Again, look at these bases. If you're going to leg into the ETF or any of these names, I just don't think you want to be in them if they break yesterday's bottom. Because
Let's make
yesterday's
haste.
News, right? So if we hold those levels, then I think that's going to sort of create a little bit
Can I
of
go
action for
catch
an
up on
upside
my
swing here.
sleep?
But man, this space has been really beat down. We've
Yeah,
talked about that
let's
over
go
and over
on.
again. Being able to catch these bottoms is great. But he mentioned that obviously coming into an election year, this is going to be a name that, or an industry that's going to be highly talked about. Whenever you think about class schedule 1 being all those harsh drugs there, we keep saying heroin and cocaine, whatever. You're not in the same ballpark when you're talking about cannabis, right? And again, maybe we are influenced because here in Canada we seem to be a decade ahead on this. But again, the way the government works and the different sides of the aisle over there, it is going to be a hard one to get passed through. So I think we might have to wait for that when we start hearing more about issues that are going to get talked about. I like the name. If by these cannabis names, one sake of just get out at yesterday's bottom. So the Tilray is right here. We're talking about 260. I think you want to get some positions, get into that level. It's only 10 cents a You buy these dips here, and if you wanted to hold it against where we were before that release, I don't think that's horrible either. It can't be bad news. Right, Obi? If we're going to dumb down trading as much as we possibly can, and I think that's what we should be doing, it's not bad news.
No, definitely not.
So
Let's go with that. Yeah, this should have been obviously done a while back, right? And then we're obviously
These bombs,
finally
so
getting
heavy.
some progress there. Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that one. Definitely not a Schedule 1 for sure. That makes absolutely no sense. Like if you are
La, la, la.
in any way versed in the ways of science, yes.
some are.
Which some are, which a lot are. It obviously it makes no sense to kind of classify marijuana with some of those other drugs in the classification, right? But finally there is some progress, and we're seeing some of that progress. We were talking about Tilray yesterday as well, where it has come up from its previous low. This year was it's come down from its previous highs, right? But it's only been selling off. And then this is the first sign of kind of decent news that could flip the script on this. But looking left, we do have a lot of ways to go to kind of get back to our former glory here on Twitter, right? Now, I'm sure this has gone through a few splits as well, so some of these prices are split adjusted. But no, definitely we'll be watching out for this volume to kind of start expanding if we are going to have more acceptance